Something is different, isn't it? The energy in the air has a strange, almost magnetic pull, especially when it comes to your relationships. Have you noticed a palpable tension, a shift in the way you feel and experience your closest bonds? This isn't just another passing week. This is a moment of deep cosmic significance, and what is happening behind the scenes will not stay hidden for much longer. You're not imagining things. This feeling is very real, and it's directly connected to a major astrological event that's about to change everything you thought you knew about your relationships and yourself. The veil is thinning, and if you are paying attention, you will soon see the truth of what is happening. This unusual feeling is tied to a powerful astrological transit, a Venus opposition in Scorpio. This isn't a typical alignment. This particular configuration is infamous for triggering massive personal and relational changes. An opposition, in astrological terms, means two celestial bodies are directly facing each other, creating an intense energetic pull. Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and relationships, is directly challenged by Scorpio, a sign of deep emotional intensity, transformation, and hidden desires. This means that right now, you are being pulled between what you thought you wanted in your relationships and what your soul is now craving, creating conflict and tension that you can no longer ignore. This transit is acting as a catalyst, forcing you to confront the very truths you've been avoiding or suppressing. It isn't just a cosmic event happening somewhere out there. This is a personalized experience that is demanding change in your life. This video will explain how and why this is happening and offer you ways to navigate this transformational moment. This Venus opposition in Scorpio is all about shedding old skin, like a snake, to make way for the new. It will start by bringing the hidden aspects of yourself and your relationships into the light, exposing all that has been pushed aside or kept in the shadows. This process may begin with discomfort, a deep feeling of unease, and may even feel like a confrontation. Yet this is all a necessary part of the cycle of transformation and growth. It will be a process of facing your shadow side and all the hidden parts of yourself that you tend to ignore. Yet this is a necessary step to stepping into a more authentic version of yourself. The discomfort you may feel is not something that is happening to you, it is happening for you. It's an opportunity to release the old, to let go of what no longer serves you, and step into a new chapter with more clarity and integrity. This transit is a call to authenticity and an opportunity to start living a more true version of yourself. The universe is working on you, with you, and through you, so pay attention to what this transit is bringing into your awareness. During this time, the veil between the physical world and the spiritual one becomes thinner, allowing for heightened intuition and increased guidance from other realms. You might be feeling more connected to your inner knowing, noticing synchronicities, and receiving messages from unexpected sources. This is not a random event. It's a time of heightened spiritual awareness, a powerful moment when you are being invited to tune into a frequency that can change your life. While many may miss the subtle signs, if you are open, you will see them with more clarity. You're being called to pay attention not just to the obvious changes, but also to the subtle shifts in your inner world, because that is where real transformation begins. This Venus opposition isn't just another date on the calendar. It's a pivotal moment that has the potential to redefine your next steps, especially concerning your close relationships and your sense of self-worth. It's not something to take lightly or to passively ignore. This is an invitation to dive deep into the very core of who you are and to finally change what is no longer working. You are not here to simply survive this transit, but rather to learn and grow. This is one of the most important cosmic events of the year so far, and ignoring it now might cause you to miss valuable opportunities for self-awareness and much-needed change. By actively engaging with this transit, you can set a new foundation for future success. The effects of this transit will go far beyond surface-level changes. This energy will impact your core beliefs, the patterns in your relationships, and how you fundamentally view your value as a person. We're not talking about small shifts, but rather monumental transformations from the inside out. For example, you may start to feel a deeper need for authentic connection and no longer be able to tolerate superficial relationships. You might experience major changes in your inner world by confronting old traumas, or make major external changes by finally leaving situations that are not aligned with your needs. This transit will leave no part of your life untouched, as it's designed to reshape and transform all that is no longer working for you. This is a deep journey into your own soul, which can be both beautiful and challenging at the same time. Understanding this energy is not about predicting the future, but about gaining the tools to manage these powerful shifts in a conscious, empowered way. It is not about being at the mercy of the universe, but rather choosing to consciously participate in your own transformation. This video will provide you with a roadmap, a way to navigate these intense emotions and make the best choices for your growth. The knowledge you will gain here will empower you to be an active participant in your life's journey, not just a passive observer of events. You will learn how to effectively navigate the intense emotions and see the changes as gifts rather than as a burden. The heart of this transit is about personal transformation and coming into deeper authenticity. It's about shedding old layers, facing aspects of yourself you might rather avoid, and creating a more authentic way of being. The discomfort you may experience is a sign that you are in the process of shedding what no longer serves you. It's an opportunity to release old patterns and step into a more liberated version of yourself. This is not about avoiding the difficult parts of this process, but rather moving through them with intention and understanding. It's about embracing the journey, no matter how uncomfortable it may feel. Venus, in its essence, represents your values, relationships, and how you seek connection with others. Scorpio, on the other hand, embodies deep hidden desires, intense transformations, and all that lies beneath the surface. Their opposition creates an intense, energetic tug-of-war, where your deepest needs and desires clash with your existing relationship patterns. This combination often brings about conflict and an intense need for authentic connection and a drive to release any dynamics that are no longer serving your true growth. These two forces have now come together to create a powerful and potentially life-changing shift, and what happens next is up to you. In astrology, an opposition is when two planets are directly facing each other, creating a tension that often feels like being pulled in two different directions. However, it's not about an us versus them scenario, but rather an invitation to integrate two opposing energies within yourself. This is not simply about external conflict, but an internal balancing act where the conscious and unconscious parts of yourself are being brought into harmony. The conflict you will experience is both within and without, and this is necessary for you to grow and finally find balance. This energetic tension will not only highlight what needs to be changed, but also what needs to be embraced. This potent energy can manifest in many ways: old relationships resurfacing, intense emotional reactions to even the smallest of things, or feelings of deep unrest and confusion about your desires. You might start to wonder what it is that you actually want in your relationships, what are your true needs, and if the life you are currently living is truly aligned with your soul's purpose. For example, you may find yourself in heated arguments with your loved ones, or become acutely aware of the aspects of your life that are not working. These reactions are not coincidences, but rather the direct effect of this powerful transit and the beginning of your personal transformation. This transit will often bring you through a cycle of intense emotions. First, initial discomfort and unease, followed by deep internal reflection, and ultimately, liberation and a sense of empowerment. This emotional cycle might be messy and confusing and may not follow a linear path, but these shifts are necessary to get to a more authentic and empowered version of yourself. It is not a journey that can be rushed, but one that requires patience and understanding, not only from yourself, but from others as well. Have you felt more restless than usual lately? Perhaps you've been experiencing unusual levels of anxiety or have been having more vivid dreams than normal. These are not coincidences. These are subtle signs from the universe that you need to be paying attention to what is happening around and inside you. These are not things to ignore, but to be recognized and investigated. This transit will be bringing up what is no longer in alignment with your soul's purpose, and if you pay attention to the signs, you will have a much easier time navigating these difficult changes. This Venus opposition isn't just about what's happening in your relationships. It's about what has been hidden within them and what has been kept secret from you. It will force you to confront the truths you've been avoiding and understand the deeper patterns that have been running your life. You will no longer be able to ignore the aspects of your life that need to change, and this will be both challenging and liberating at the same time. The transit is peeling back the layers of what is false and what is true, revealing all that has been unseen. After this transit is complete, your relationships will likely transform from your communication styles to your expectations. You will begin to notice the ways in which you have been holding onto unhealthy patterns and will be given the chance to change them if you are willing. There will be a distinct shift from how you were before, and the impact of these changes will have a ripple effect on all aspects of your life. You will no longer be tolerating anything less than what you deserve, and will set new boundaries based on your deepest values. Throughout this video, we will explore how you can use this energy for personal transformation by offering practical tools and methods that will help you navigate the intense emotions and make the best choices for your personal growth. This video isn't just an explanation of what is happening, it is also a guide on how to use this transit to your advantage, so you can emerge stronger, wiser, and more authentic. You will be given concrete ways to work with this energy so you can navigate the next few weeks with greater ease. This is a journey of self-discovery and empowerment, and you are being invited to take that journey now. This Venus opposition in Scorpio is not just about vague feelings, it's about a direct confrontation with what you deeply desire. It's about all those buried longings, the quiet whispers of your heart that you've perhaps ignored or deemed impossible. The universe is turning up the volume on these desires, and you will begin to hear them with more clarity. Have you been in relationships that felt safe, but not quite fulfilling? Now, you might find yourself yearning for deeper emotional connections, a more authentic expression of love, or perhaps a need for more autonomy within your partnerships. You may have settled for less than what you truly want, and you will begin to realize that you can no longer ignore this need. These aren't just passing fancies, they're the true callings of your soul, the markers that point towards a path more aligned with your authentic self. For instance, have you stayed in a relationship to avoid being alone, even if it didn't truly bring you joy? This transit will bring that feeling of discomfort to the surface, forcing you to confront the reality that you need a drastic change. Or if you've always yearned to live in nature, yet found yourself stuck in a city, this transit may cause an intense longing for the wilderness, pulling you towards your truest environment. These desires aren't simply romantic fantasies. They're reflections of your core needs, and they will begin to surface in your everyday life, demanding your attention, and they will start to feel like a necessity, not just a preference. This intense uncovering of desires will lead you straight into the shadow, that hidden part of yourself you might rather avoid. This transit, with Scorpio's relentless energy, acts like a cosmic spotlight, illuminating all the aspects of your personality you've kept hidden in the dark. Those insecurities, those deep-seated fears, and unresolved traumas that you've been trying to keep at bay. It's like peeling back layers of an onion, each layer bringing you closer to your core, but also exposing uncomfortable truths. You might start to recognize patterns of self-sabotage or discover that your reactions are rooted in old wounds that you haven't yet healed. This process isn't going to be easy. It might feel like an internal battle as you confront these hidden parts of yourself. Imagine a person who has always presented a perfect facade. This transit will make it nearly impossible to maintain that image. You will see the cracks in that mask, and you will realize that it will take a lot of energy to maintain the facade, and you may be forced to acknowledge that you are not as perfect as you want the world to see you. This confrontation, though uncomfortable, is a necessary part of your journey, and it is the first step in a transformative cycle. You can think of it like shedding old skin, a necessary, if uncomfortable, process of letting go of what no longer fits. The discomfort will only serve to highlight what needs to change. It is part of a natural emotional cycle that will lead to a much more authentic version of yourself. And what about those relationship patterns you've been tolerating? This transit is about to amplify them, making them impossible to ignore any longer. Those little compromises you've been making, the unhealthy dynamics you've swept under the rug, are about to become glaringly obvious. Have you found yourself in codependent relationships, constantly giving more than you receive? Or perhaps you've been stuck in an unbalanced power dynamic, where your needs are consistently placed second. These patterns that were once tolerable are now going to feel unbearable. The universe isn't punishing you, it's simply highlighting what needs to shift. You're not alone in this. Many are feeling the same amplified discomfort right now. This discomfort is a call to change the patterns you have created, and it will help you to understand that you deserve more than what you have been accepting. You may have experienced this type of discomfort before, a feeling of being trapped or stuck, because this transit is showing you a recurring theme that has been with you for a very long time, and this is your opportunity to take new actions that will create a new cycle and create a new experience. This is not about suffering through these feelings, but rather recognizing that they are a signal that something must change. But here's where the power begins to shift, because these uncomfortable confrontations are actually opportunities to reclaim your inner authority. The universe isn't dictating your fate, it is empowering you to choose your own reality. These moments of intense discomfort will allow you to finally see yourself as the empowered co-creator of your life, not as a victim of circumstance. You are not simply at the mercy of external forces. You have the power to make choices, set boundaries, and define your own terms. Consider someone who has always sought validation from others. This transit may bring about a deep realization that they possess their own unique worth. It might be a moment of awakening, where they suddenly recognize that they are valuable regardless of external approval. Or imagine someone who has never felt like they had any control over their life, suddenly realizing they have the power to make personal choices and set new boundaries based on what they need and desire. This transit is showing you that you have the power to redefine your experience. This will not only impact your present relationships, but also your future ones. This is not a moment to shrink away, but rather a chance to step into your personal power. And this reclamation of authority extends far beyond your personal relationships. It is connected to a much greater purpose and a deeper understanding of what you truly desire. This transit can trigger a shift in how you see your role in the world, pushing you to connect with your soul's calling. You may realize that you have put your purpose on hold, that you have been living a life that pleases others and not your authentic self. Now, you may find a strong pull to take a different path, to live a life that is fully aligned with your true desires. For example, a person who has always worked a job they don't enjoy may suddenly feel a strong calling to pursue their true passion, perhaps something creative or something that has a more profound impact on others. Or a viewer who has put their dreams on hold to please their family might begin to realize that they can finally honor their needs. This is a moment of alignment. It is about finally recognizing that your greatest joy comes from following your own path, not one that is dictated by others. It's about creating a life that reflects your truest self. Your desires are not selfish impulses, they are the compass that guides you to your most authentic life. As you navigate these changes, be prepared for an amplification of your emotions. This Venus opposition will act like a cosmic magnifying glass, enlarging both positive and negative feelings. You might experience intense joy one moment and then be overwhelmed by frustration the next, all in rapid succession. This is not a sign of weakness, but rather evidence of the powerful energy working within you, bringing everything to the surface. It's important to remember that your reactions might feel heightened and your sensitivity may be off the charts. This can create a feeling of being overwhelmed, but it is a necessary part of the process. Your emotions will feel bigger and your reactions will be more intense. You may find it more challenging to keep your emotions in check. It is essential to be mindful of this intensity because it is easy to get caught up in the drama of your feelings and they may begin to feel like they are completely controlling you. You will need to find ways to center yourself. This is not a time to try to suppress or ignore your feelings. It's a time to learn how to work with their intensity so that they do not completely take over your experience. Take deep breaths when your emotions are heightened and ground yourself. The feelings will pass, but you have to allow them to move through you. This practice will create space so that you can respond rather than simply react. And as the intensity of your emotions rises, so will your spiritual awareness. The veil between the physical and spiritual realms will be thinning even more. Your intuition might become incredibly sharp, and you may find yourself noticing patterns and synchronicities that were previously invisible to you. You may start having more vivid dreams, feel more connected to your inner guidance, or even sense the presence of spiritual guides and energies around you. This isn't just coincidence. It is the universe opening up channels of communication with you, providing guidance and support as you undergo this transformative process. You might notice repeating numbers, feel a strong pull towards a particular path, or suddenly experience moments of deep knowing, as if the answers to your questions are appearing right before your eyes. These experiences are all connected to the shift in energy during this transit, and they are all designed to bring you into deeper alignment with your soul's purpose. This is a very special time because the veil is thinner and you will have a greater opportunity to access the invisible realms. This is not a time to ignore your intuitive nudges, but rather a time to follow them with trust and faith. With all of this swirling energy, it's crucial to engage in self-reflection. You must take the time to check in with yourself and become more aware of the internal and external changes that are taking place. Mindfulness practices will be very helpful right now. This means journaling your thoughts, taking time for quiet contemplation, and paying close attention to your body's signals. What are you feeling, both emotionally and physically? What is your intuition telling you? These questions will help you to navigate these powerful energies more effectively. To manage this intensity, incorporate mindfulness into your daily routine. Take deep breaths when you feel overwhelmed. Journal your feelings to process them. Listen to your intuition for guidance and trust in your inner wisdom. These aren't just suggestions. These are tools that are readily available to you. They will help you navigate the intense waves of emotion and give you clarity during chaotic times. Take some time each day to slow down and reconnect with yourself, and use these practices as your anchors in the midst of the storm. By understanding this transit, you're equipped to navigate it with more awareness. You've been given a roadmap to help you understand the emotional cycle, confront your shadow self, release old patterns, reclaim your inner power, align with your higher purpose, and use mindfulness tools to navigate this transit. You now understand that these cycles are not random, but rather a part of your personal evolution. You're seeing the interconnectedness of all these shifts, and you now know that this transit is a catalyst for deep personal change. You will now recognize all the shifts that have occurred and be able to use this knowledge to move forward with more intention and greater wisdom. You can see how your emotions will be intensified, how your shadow will appear, and how this all leads you towards your inner authority and your higher purpose. This understanding is your greatest tool during these powerful shifts. This is not just knowledge for this moment. This is wisdom that you can carry with you into the future and utilize during future cosmic events, and it is a powerful tool for your spiritual growth. Let's now turn our attention to the intricate dance of your relationships, for it is within these connections that this Venus opposition in Scorpio will truly make its presence known. This transit isn't going to simply stir up surface-level disagreements. It's going to delve into the very foundation of your relationships, exposing the fault lines and hidden currents that have been simmering beneath the surface. The shadow aspects we've explored, those hidden desires you've just begun to recognize, are about to manifest in your interactions with your loved ones. Prepare for a reevaluation of your bonds, a cosmic clearing that will ask you to confront the unspoken needs, the imbalanced power dynamics, and the communication breakdowns that have been clouding your connections. For example, have you ever found yourself in a relationship where conflict is avoided at all costs, where one partner always appeases the other just to keep the peace? Or perhaps you've been in a dynamic where you feel like you're constantly walking on eggshells, afraid to express your true feelings for fear of triggering a negative reaction. These scenarios are not uncommon, but they reveal hidden patterns of communication that are about to become very apparent. This transit acts as a magnifying glass, enlarging even the smallest cracks and forcing you to take notice of the underlying issues. The key here is to recognize that these relationship challenges aren't random occurrences. They are reflections of the deeper work you're being called to do, and they are about to be amplified to help you create true and lasting change. And what about those hidden agendas, the unspoken intentions that often fuel the complexities of human relationships? This Venus opposition will begin to pull back the veil, revealing those unacknowledged needs and wants that often lie beneath the surface of our interactions. These unspoken desires can manifest as power struggles, subtle manipulations, or even passive-aggressive behaviors. You might find that the people you love most are acting in ways that seem confusing or contradictory, but it is because these desires are rising to the surface and they are needing an outlet. Consider a partner who sabotages their significant other's success, seemingly out of nowhere. It might seem illogical, but it could very well stem from a deep-seated jealousy they haven't yet acknowledged, or a person who claims to avoid conflict but always finds ways to create it indirectly. These are examples of hidden agendas that this transit will bring to light, and you will be able to recognize them more clearly. You may have felt these subtle tensions before, but this transit will amplify these experiences, and you may finally begin to understand their roots. The veil between what's said and what's truly meant is thinning, and it's allowing you to see the hidden intentions behind the actions of your partners, friends, and family. This isn't about assigning blame, but rather about gaining a deeper understanding of the intricate layers that compose all relational dynamics, and taking responsibility for your own role in these patterns. Before this cosmic shift fully takes hold, let's pause and consider what your relationships might have looked like before this transit began. Take a moment to reflect on the common patterns, the recurring themes that may have defined your connections. Have you been stuck in codependent relationships, where your sense of self is deeply entwined with another person's identity and where boundaries are blurred or non-existent? Perhaps you've found yourself consistently drawn to relationships where your needs are secondary, where you're always the one giving more than you receive, leaving you feeling drained and depleted. Maybe you've been settling for less than what you deserve in your intimate partnerships, and this pattern has continued throughout your life. Maybe you have been tolerating friendships that no longer serve you, and you may even begin to recognize that these patterns have been a recurring theme throughout your life, as your relationships seem to follow a very familiar script. You have most likely felt this pattern before, during previous transits, and you might recognize that this theme keeps coming back again and again, and yet it is still there. The universe is showing you this pattern once again to help you finally break free from it. This isn't just about what your relationships look like on the surface, but rather the underlying patterns that have kept you from experiencing truly authentic connections. This moment of reflection will serve as a starting point for your transformation. Now, let's explore how your own shadow aspects can manifest within these relationship patterns. It's often said that we see in others what we refuse to acknowledge in ourselves. This Venus opposition is about to reveal how you might be projecting your own insecurities, fears, and unresolved traumas onto your partners, family, and friends. If you have an inner critic that is constantly berating you, you might find that you are very critical of others. The things that bother you most about other people may be a reflection of something that you haven't acknowledged within yourself. If you have deep-seated fears of abandonment, you might become overly clingy and needy in your relationships, inadvertently pushing people away. Or if you have low self-esteem, you might criticize or belittle your partner in an attempt to feel superior or more in control. These projections aren't conscious decisions. They're often unconscious defense mechanisms, attempts to avoid confronting the uncomfortable truths within. This transit is bringing these shadows to the surface, making them more visible, so you can finally recognize them and begin the work of integrating them. This is not just about what you see in others, but rather what they reflect back to you. This mirror can be extremely uncomfortable, but it is very important in the process of healing. The key is to understand how these projections are impacting your connections and recognize that they are opportunities to turn your attention inward. This Venus opposition acts as a catalyst, a trigger point that can amplify even seemingly minor issues, causing them to escalate into major conflicts. It's as if the cosmic tension is reaching a breaking point, making previously tolerable situations unbearable. A small disagreement can quickly explode into a full-blown argument. A minor annoyance might trigger a disproportionate amount of anger. These reactions are not random. They are a product of the intense energy that is building within you and your relationships. Consider a scenario where a couple has been avoiding a difficult conversation for weeks. This transit may amplify the tension, causing a seemingly small comment to trigger an intense and painful argument. Or perhaps you've been tolerating a friendship where you constantly feel unheard, and this transit might cause a relatively small comment to ignite a major confrontation. It's like a pressure cooker where the heat is turned up, forcing these hidden issues to rise to the surface. But this isn't a bad thing. In fact, these moments of tension are necessary for change to happen. It's a critical part of the emotional cycle, the moment where the built-up energy has to be released in order to make space for transformation. This is not chaos. It's the universe clearing the path for you to move forward. These external conflicts you're experiencing will also be a powerful mirror, reflecting the inner turmoil you may be facing. The issues that surface in your relationships will often highlight the internal battles that you are avoiding. If you find yourself in a power struggle with a partner, it might be because you're struggling to reclaim your own personal power. Or, if you feel unheard in your relationship, it could be that you are not hearing your own inner voice. This is not a coincidence. It is the universe reflecting back to you the very issues you must resolve within yourself. It is like looking into a mirror that is showing you exactly what you need to see so that you can finally move forward with clarity. These external experiences are opportunities for self-reflection, a way to gain greater understanding of your own internal landscape. It's a call to acknowledge that what you're experiencing on the outside is often a direct reflection of what's happening within. This is about understanding the interconnectedness of your inner and outer worlds and taking full responsibility for your own healing. Just like shedding skin, this internal confrontation may feel uncomfortable, but it is necessary for transformation. As you navigate these turbulent waters, remember that the veil between the spiritual and physical realms is thinning, opening channels for guidance and support. You might find yourself suddenly understanding the deeper meaning of your relationships, your past, and your future path. Vivid dreams might become more frequent, bringing with them symbols and messages that need your attention. You may have a sudden insight, a clear understanding about what you need to do. It's as if the answers to your questions are beginning to appear right before your eyes. It may be as simple as hearing the lyrics to a song that speaks to you or finding a book that you were not looking for. These aren't random occurrences. They're synchronicities, signs from the universe that are guiding you through this process. Consider a scenario where you've been struggling to understand a challenging dynamic with your family. During this transit, You might experience a dream that provides clarity, revealing the root of the issue, or you might find yourself suddenly drawn to a book or a podcast that provides the missing pieces of information you need. These moments of insight should be seen as guidance. They are not simply coincidences, they are the universe communicating with you. Pay attention to these signs and trust in the wisdom they bring. But here is the most important shift you need to make at this moment, because it is now time for you to understand that this trigger point you're experiencing is not just a breaking point, it's actually a catalyst for profound change, for you to take full responsibility for your healing and growth. The moment you recognize the interconnectedness of your inner and outer worlds is the moment that you reclaim your power. This isn't just about reacting to the chaos around you, it's about choosing your own path, setting clear boundaries, and connecting with your true desires. It is about choosing authenticity and self-love. It is about breaking free from those old patterns that have been holding you back, those unhealthy relationship dynamics, and reclaim your inner authority. This transit isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. This is your opportunity to step out of the old patterns that have defined you and into a new reality where you are the empowered co-creator of your own experience. You have a clear choice right now. You can choose to stay in the same patterns of the past, or you can choose to step into a more authentic version of yourself. What do you choose? The answer lies within you. This Venus opposition in Scorpio isn't just about highlighting the issues in your relationships, it's about initiating a profound transformation, a complete overhaul of how you relate to others. Think of it as a cosmic reset button that is forcing you to confront the underlying dynamics that have been dictating the course of your connections. This isn't just about the surface-level interactions. It's about the unspoken rules, the unacknowledged expectations, and the ingrained patterns that have been governing how you communicate and connect with those closest to you. The way you express yourself, the level of emotional intimacy you're comfortable with, the unspoken agreements you've made, all these aspects of your relationships are about to come under intense scrutiny. This transit will push you to question everything you thought you knew about relating to others, especially those you have been with for a long time. For example, have you always been the one to initiate conversations while your partner remains passive? Or have you found yourself consistently making compromises that leave you feeling unheard and unseen? Perhaps you've been avoiding deep, vulnerable conversations for fear of emotional exposure, leading to a superficial level of intimacy. These are just a few examples of the communication styles and emotional patterns that will be brought into the light during this transit. This is about seeing them with new eyes and recognizing how these shifts will require an adjustment to the overall relational dynamic. It's not about blame, it's about awareness and the understanding that change is needed, not just for you, but also for your relationships to thrive. The universe is asking you, what do you need to change within yourself to change the way you relate to others? And what about the illusions that we often construct to make sense of our relationships? Many of our connections are built not on the foundation of reality, but on the shifting sands of expectations, projections, and idealized versions of the people we love. This transit is about to expose the falseness within these narratives by shattering these illusions and forcing you to see your partners for who they truly are, rather than who you want them to be. You might have a tendency to see your significant other as the perfect partner, someone who can do no wrong, or perhaps you view a close friend through a rosy lens, overlooking their flaws and limitations. This isn't a conscious decision. It's a subconscious desire to maintain a sense of stability and avoid facing the potential imperfections that might threaten that foundation. But this transit will challenge these false beliefs, and you will begin to notice the behaviors that you have previously ignored, the shortcomings you've conveniently overlooked, and the ways in which your partners have fallen short of the idealized images you had of them. This can be jarring, as it forces you to confront the reality that your relationships may not be what you thought they were. But this is not a negative process. It is an essential part of the journey toward authentic connection. By seeing others as they truly are and not as you want them to be, you create space for genuine relationships to form. Understand that these illusions are a fertile ground for unmet needs and potential future conflict. They keep you from seeing what is real and prevent you from creating a relationship that truly fulfills you. What aspects of your relationship are you not seeing clearly? What is the illusion, and how does it keep you from genuine connection? As these illusions crumble, you will begin to feel a heightened awareness of your own emotional needs and desires, particularly in the realm of intimacy, emotional support, and authentic connection. This isn't about superficial wants, it's about the deep-seated longings of your soul, the cravings for understanding, acceptance, and genuine love. The Venus opposition in Scorpio is acting as a cosmic amplifier, turning up the volume on these feelings, making them impossible to ignore. You may find yourself craving deeper, more meaningful conversations, a level of emotional vulnerability that may have been absent from your relationships. You might experience a strong desire to feel truly seen and heard by your partners, a need for validation, or the desire to be fully accepted for who you are, without any judgment. Or perhaps you may suddenly feel an intense need for physical intimacy as a way to connect with your partner on a deeper level. These needs aren't new, but they've been simmering beneath the surface, and now they are demanding to be acknowledged. If these needs are not met, you may begin to feel a sense of deep frustration and resentment, which is why this transit often leads to confrontations, when people cannot ignore the growing discrepancy between their needs and the reality of their relationships. Think back to the repressed desires you've recently uncovered. These are the fuel that is now igniting the fire within your heart, compelling you to seek the connections that your soul has been longing for. What are you truly craving in your relationships? What is your heart trying to tell you? And so, this is where the breaking point often occurs, a moment of intense friction where the heightened emotions and unmet needs collide, leading to unavoidable conflicts. You may find that small disagreements escalate into major arguments, long-suppressed frustrations finally erupt, and previously avoided issues are brought to the surface. It's as if a dam has burst, unleashing a torrent of pent-up emotions that have been waiting for this moment. These are not random events. They are the culmination of all the tension that has been building and a necessary part of the process of transformation. This breaking point is not about assigning blame, but it is about recognizing the need for change. It is about acknowledging your own needs and desires and taking responsibility for the role that you play in creating your current reality. It's easy to point fingers and focus on your partner's shortcomings, but this transit is urging you to look within and understand your own contribution to these relationship dynamics. This isn't about victimhood. It's about empowerment, about recognizing that you have the power to make a change. It is easy to hide from what is difficult, but that is not the path that leads to growth. This breaking point may feel chaotic and overwhelming, but you must understand it as a necessary part of your transformational journey. What feels broken now can be put back together stronger and with more love, but only if you allow the process to occur. What are the areas in your relationship that are about to break down, and what is the opportunity within the breakage? What is truly fascinating about all of this is that these external conflicts you're experiencing are often a direct mirror, reflecting the inner conflicts you are avoiding. The issues that are surfacing in your relationships may be a reflection of your own insecurities, traumas, or unmet needs. The ways that you are showing up in your external relationships is often a reflection of how you are treating yourself. And that is why it is important to take a look at yourself as you navigate the shifts and changes within your relationships. For example, if you find yourself constantly being criticized by your partner, perhaps it's a reflection of your own inner critic and how you harshly judge yourself. Or, if you feel unseen and unheard in your relationships, it could be that you are ignoring your own inner voice, silencing your own needs. If you find yourself in constant conflict with a loved one, It may be because you have an inner conflict you haven't yet resolved. The universe is showing you the very things you need to address by reflecting them back to you through your relationships. It's like holding up a mirror to your soul, showing you the areas that need healing, growth, and transformation. This is an opportunity to become aware of your own patterns of behavior and the inner voices that may be driving them. It's a call to integrate the shadow aspects of yourself, recognizing that those parts are in need of love and compassion. If you find yourself drawn to people who have a specific trait that you hate, what does it say about the fact that you may have that trait within you? As you navigate through this chaos, remember that the discomfort you feel is not a sign that something is wrong, but rather, it is a sign of growth. This transit isn't about making you feel uncomfortable. It's about pushing you beyond your comfort zone, forcing you to face the very issues that have been holding you back. Discomfort is a natural part of the growth process, a necessary step on the journey to transformation. It's like going to the gym, the muscles ache, but that ache means that you are growing stronger. Likewise, the discomfort you are experiencing now is an indication that you are evolving, expanding your capacity for love, authenticity, and genuine connection. It's the universe's way of telling you that you are being pushed in a new direction, one that aligns more closely with your highest potential. Think of it as a cocoon, where the caterpillar feels the pressure of its surroundings as it morphs into a butterfly. That pressure is essential for its wings to fully develop. Likewise, the pressure of this transit is helping you to grow and transform so you can finally take flight. Embrace the discomfort, knowing that it is a catalyst for profound change. Do not resist it. Allow yourself to feel the feelings and recognize that this is a vital part of the transformational journey. What discomfort are you avoiding right now? And how can you allow that feeling to help you move forward? And as you move through these relational challenges, understand that they are also a spiritual wake-up call, a catalyst for your soul's evolution. These challenges, these seemingly negative situations, are not random. They are carefully orchestrated events that are designed to push you to align with your truest values and desires. During this time, you may find that your intuition is heightened, that synchronicities begin to appear, and that you feel a renewed connection to your own higher purpose. It is as if the universe is conspiring to support your journey by revealing the path ahead. Consider a scenario where you've been feeling lost and disconnected from your true path. This transit can bring about a sudden insight, a clear understanding of your gifts and your purpose, or you may be drawn to a new path, one that more closely aligns with your authentic self. You might find yourself having a vivid dream that reveals your next steps, or you might have a sudden desire to pick up a skill that was long forgotten. These synchronicities, these intuitive nudges, are not coincidences. They are gentle reminders from your soul, guiding you on your path. Allow yourself to be open to these signs, trust in the wisdom of the universe, and understand that there is a greater spiritual purpose at play. What is your soul urging you to do during this time? This entire process, from the initial discomfort to the spiritual awakening, is all leading you to this moment, the moment where you recognize your personal power. You are not a victim of circumstance, but rather an empowered co-creator of your reality. You have the ability to make choices, to set boundaries, and to create relationships that are aligned with your values. This transit is not about assigning blame or dwelling in victimhood, but rather about taking responsibility for your own actions, thoughts, and choices. It's about recognizing that you have the power to change the patterns that have been holding you back. You have the power to speak your truth, to choose authenticity over conformity, and to create relationships that are based on mutual respect, love, and genuine connection. The universe is reminding you that your future is not predetermined. It's a blank canvas that is waiting for you to paint your own unique and beautiful story. This is your opportunity to step into your power, to become the author of your own destiny. What are you choosing right now? What kind of relationships do you wish to create? The answers are within your reach if you choose to step into your power and claim them. But what happens when the dust settles? When the illusions have crumbled The old patterns have been challenged, and the confrontations have run their course. What emerges from the ashes of your old self? What can you expect after having gone through such an intense period? This is it, the moment of rebirth, the point where your authentic self begins to rise, just like the phoenix from its ashes. You've shed layers of skin, old beliefs, and long-held patterns. You are not the same person you were before this transit began, and this is the true magic within the Venus opposition in Scorpio. The discomfort you experienced was not for nothing. It was all part of a larger plan, a necessary stage of growth. Think of a snake shedding its old skin to reveal a newer, more vibrant layer. This process is uncomfortable and sometimes even painful, yet it is essential for its growth. In the same way, this transit has forced you to shed the aspects of yourself that no longer serve you. You have been given the opportunity to become more of who you truly are and to connect with your authentic self. This is not just about personal growth, but rather the evolution of your soul. It's a journey from the darkness of the unknown into the light of understanding, a path that requires you to let go of who you once were so that you can embrace the person you are becoming. What aspects of your old self are you ready to let go of? What new version of yourself is waiting to emerge? This is your time to shine. And how will all of this affect your relationships? What will happen once all of these changes have taken hold? The relationships that survive this transit will be stronger, more authentic, and more fulfilling than before, but only if you allowed the process to happen. The superficial interactions and imbalanced dynamics will be replaced with genuine connection, mutual respect, and deeper emotional intimacy. This is the after view, a new landscape where communication is clear, boundaries are honored, and love is expressed freely. Remember the unmet needs that were exposed during this transit. They are not just a source of conflict, but rather, they are a roadmap for deeper connections. By clearly articulating your needs, you've opened the door for your partners to understand and support you on a deeper level. And when your needs are truly being met, you are able to show up differently for your partners as well. The passive-aggressive communication styles and unspoken expectations have been replaced with direct honesty and vulnerability, creating a space where you can both express your truest selves. Perhaps you used to navigate disagreements with silence and avoidance, but now you approach conflicts with courage and empathy. Maybe you once accepted less than you deserved from others, but now you are setting clear boundaries and asking for what you need without guilt or fear. All of this comes from a place of awareness and an understanding of your own worth, which is what this transit is designed to provide. Are you ready to create relationships that are based on mutual respect and genuine love? What new patterns are you implementing to ensure healthier relationships? And speaking of empowerment, this transit isn't just about creating new relational dynamics, it's also about reclaiming your personal power and recognizing that you are the author of your own story. You are no longer a victim of circumstance, but an empowered co-creator of your reality, fully capable of consciously choosing your responses, setting clear boundaries, and making decisions that are aligned with your authentic values. Remember how you previously reacted to situations based on old patterns, and how you used to allow external forces to dictate your actions. You would simply react without thinking, going into default modes that kept you stuck. That is all changing now. You are now capable of consciously responding to situations based on your new awareness and on your own needs rather than external expectations. You can choose to set clear boundaries, making sure that you are protecting your time, your energy, and your emotions, allowing you to step into a position of authority within your own life. You can speak your truth, expressing yourself authentically without fear of judgment or rejection, which was an issue in the past. And finally, you can create relationships that are aligned with your highest values, releasing the connections that no longer serve you and inviting those who truly see you and honor you. You now see that you are fully empowered to create the life that you desire, and you can finally start making conscious choices based on your deepest longings, rather than old programming. What choices are you making to reclaim your personal power? What new boundaries are you setting to honor your authentic self? And as you move through these newfound changes, you begin to fully see the purpose of the emotional cycle, that all the discomfort, the confrontations, and the self-reflection were all a necessary part of the journey, leading you to a state of liberation and emotional integration. The cycle is not linear, but rather a dance, moving back and forth between the different stages of awareness, each one building on the last, giving you a greater understanding of what it is that you are experiencing. The uncomfortable emotions that were once overwhelming now feel manageable, the intense feelings are now understood, and you have a full understanding of how to work with them as they arise. The fear has been replaced with courage, the insecurity with self-acceptance, and the resentment with compassion. You can see that your challenging emotions were not the end point, but rather, they were the very things that helped you to grow, and they are the tools you now use to navigate the changes. You now see that your emotions are not something to be feared or something to be avoided, but rather, they are messengers, providing you with valuable information about your own needs and your own desires. You now approach your emotions with greater awareness, rather than reacting to them based on old patterns. This doesn't mean that you will never feel discomfort again, but it means that you have gained a new understanding of yourself, and you now have the tools to navigate those feelings with more grace and ease. What are you feeling now, and how is that different than what you were feeling in the beginning of this transit? What tools are you using to navigate your emotions? What is truly magical about all of this is that this transformational process isn't limited to just your emotional and relational dynamics, but it also serves as a powerful catalyst for your spiritual evolution, a time where the thin veil between worlds becomes even more apparent. The universe is conspiring to support your growth by heightening your intuition, sending you clear messages, and guiding you along your path. You may suddenly find yourself understanding exactly what you need in a relationship, as your inner wisdom guides you towards the right choices, or you might have vivid dreams that offer clarity about your past experiences and illuminate the path forward. Or perhaps you suddenly meet someone who shows up in the perfect time and place, offering a valuable piece of advice, or perhaps you may feel a strange pull to take a certain direction, only to realize that it leads you to an opportunity you were looking for. These coincidences are not simply random occurrences. They are signs, nudges, messages that are designed to help you on your journey. It's as if the universe is speaking directly to you, offering guidance and support as you step into the next phase of your evolution. Are you paying attention to the signs? What messages are being delivered to you right now? What coincidences have been showing up for you lately? And as you start paying attention to these synchronicities, you will come to see that your increased spiritual sensitivity and intuition is not just an abstract concept, but rather, it's a practical tool, a compass that will help guide you through this next phase. This inner guidance is not something that is separate from you. It is your own wisdom, your own knowing, your own truth. You are fully capable of trusting your gut feelings when making decisions, and by understanding your emotional patterns, you can align yourself with your true purpose. Trusting your intuition is not just about following a hunch. It's about tuning into the deepest part of your being and aligning with the truest expression of yourself. The wisdom and the answers you seek are not somewhere outside of yourself. They are within you, waiting to be discovered, accessed, and put into practice. The answers are within your heart, but you need to be still enough to listen and courageous enough to trust. How are you using your intuition to make choices in your life? What steps are you taking to trust the wisdom that is being offered to you? And as you begin to navigate this new territory, you may find that your perspective is shifting. It's not enough to simply understand all of this. You must also set clear intentions for the future, using this knowledge to actively co-create your own reality. This isn't about setting goals, but rather, it's about creating a clear vision for yourself and taking steps to align with that vision. This time calls for you to build upon all that you have experienced by setting clear intentions, using the knowledge you've gained to move forward with purpose and direction. As you explore the depths of your soul, you may find a new purpose or a new direction you wish to explore, and by setting intentions, you will be able to direct the flow of energy toward those goals. You must use your newfound clarity, your authentic desires, and your values to build a map of where it is that you wish to go. Start by journaling your thoughts, exploring your true feelings, or you can begin a practice of daily meditation so that you can connect with your inner wisdom and then create a clear visualization of your ideal reality. This will help to set a clear pathway for you to move forward into the life you are creating. What intentions are you setting for your future? What steps are you taking to actively co-create your reality? And finally, as you move through all of these changes, it's vital to understand that this transit is not an isolated event, but rather, it is just one part of the larger, continuous cycle of growth and transformation. There will always be new challenges to face, new patterns to shed, and new depths to explore, which is why it is important to take a long view and understand that you are a work in progress. You are always evolving, you are always expanding, and each experience provides a new layer of wisdom. This is simply one cycle in the greater cosmic pattern of life, a cycle that will continue to unfold. The journey of growth is not a linear path with a final destination, but rather, it is a spiraling dance that leads you deeper into the core of your being, with each phase teaching you something new. You may find yourself going through similar cycles, but each time, you will have more clarity and you will have more tools at your disposal. You have the ability to navigate the ups and downs of life with greater ease, knowing that each challenge is an opportunity for growth. You now know how to shed your old skin, embrace the discomfort, and allow yourself to be reborn into a new level of awareness. You are fully equipped to continue the journey with compassion, patience, and a heart that is open to all that is waiting for you. Are you ready to continue on your path, shedding more layers and embracing all of the new possibilities? So, let's get into the precise astrological mechanics of what a Venus opposition in Scorpio truly entails, because understanding the how will give you a deeper awareness of what is happening. It all begins with the concept of an opposition, which in astrological terms means that two planets are positioned 180 degrees apart from each other, creating an energetic tension, a pull, and a dynamic that is both challenging and incredibly transformative. Think of it as two opposing forces, each with its own agenda, pulling at you from different directions. This opposition isn't inherently negative, but it acts like a cosmic amplifier, highlighting the areas where you might be feeling conflicted or imbalanced. Now let's add Venus to the mix, a planet that represents love, relationships, values, and desires, and then place it directly across from Scorpio, a sign that is all about intensity, depth, transformation, and those things that are hidden beneath the surface. You can imagine the tension, the push and pull, when these two energies clash. It's like mixing fire and water. There's bound to be some steam, some sizzle, and most definitely a powerful reaction. This is not a gentle nudge, but rather a potent force that is designed to push you to your very edge. What you must understand is that this transit isn't meant to destroy you, but rather, it's designed to reveal the areas of your life where you have become stagnant or where you've strayed from your truth. This is a catalyst for change, a call to align with your authentic self. Have you felt the tension yet, the pull between what you value and what you deeply desire? To fully understand this opposition, you must understand the individual energies that are at play, each one with its own unique archetypal expression. Venus, in its purest form, is the embodiment of harmony, connection, and the things that we value. It's about beauty, pleasure, and the way we relate to others. Think of a beautiful melody, a harmonious interaction, or a feeling of deep connection and appreciation. This is Venus in its light expression. But Venus also has a shadow side, which is expressed as superficiality, codependency, or an unwillingness to confront issues in relationships to preserve a false sense of harmony. In daily life, Venus expresses itself as a desire for connection, a longing for beauty, and a craving for pleasure, but also it can show up as a reluctance to deal with difficult emotions or challenging interactions in order to maintain an artificial peace. Now let's look at Scorpio, which is a completely different force. Scorpio represents the depths of human experience. It's about power, intensity, transformation, and the hidden aspects of the human psyche. Think of the powerful undertow of the ocean, the intense gaze of a predator, or the transformative process of a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. This is Scorpio in its light expression. But Scorpio also has a shadow, which is expressed as control, obsession, manipulation, or an unwillingness to be vulnerable. In daily life, Scorpio shows up as an attraction to mystery, a desire to go beneath the surface, but also as a tendency to hide one's true intentions or feelings to maintain a sense of power and control. Can you begin to see how these two contrasting energies can create tension within the opposition? Do you recognize these energies within yourself and your relationships? And it is in the opposition that these tensions become most pronounced, forcing you to confront the internal conflicts that have been simmering beneath the surface. The opposition creates a dynamic where the harmonious and relational energy of Venus is directly challenged by the transformative and intense nature of Scorpio. You might find yourself torn between your desire for security and comfort in relationships, Venus, and your need for deep, transformative experiences, Scorpio. Maybe you're craving intimacy, but are also feeling a strong pull to break free from outdated patterns that no longer serve you. Perhaps you yearn for harmony and peace, but find yourself drawn to intense emotions that bring discomfort. This conflict can manifest as internal battles, where your values and your desires seem to be at odds with each other. It can also show up as external challenges in relationships, where you may be experiencing misunderstandings, arguments, or power struggles. You may be craving connection, but also feeling a strong need for autonomy. This opposition can make it difficult to balance your need for intimacy with your desire for personal freedom. It is an inner wrestling match between what you want and what you think you should want. For example, you might be in a relationship that feels comfortable on the surface, but underneath, you may be feeling a deep longing for more authenticity or a desire for more freedom and independence. The opposition intensifies this conflict, bringing it to your conscious awareness and making it impossible to ignore. Are you feeling this pull between your comfort and your truth? What desires are coming to the surface now? This is where the rubber meets the road, because the Venus opposition in Scorpio has a way of pushing old, unhealthy relationship patterns to their breaking point. It's like a pressure cooker, turning up the heat on those issues that you've been avoiding or tolerating for far too long. If you've been dealing with codependency, where your happiness is reliant on the happiness of others, you'll feel it now more than ever. If you have a tendency to avoid conflict, or you engage in passive-aggressive behaviors, this transit will bring those patterns to the forefront. Those unmet emotional needs that you've been suppressing, they will come up to the surface, and they will need to be addressed. Perhaps you have a habit of minimizing your own needs to prioritize those of your partner, or maybe you've been accepting less than you deserve in order to avoid conflict. The tensions created by this transit will amplify these existing issues, making them impossible to ignore. For example, a relationship where one partner is constantly accommodating the other may suddenly feel unbearable. The person who usually accommodates may start feeling deeply resentful, and the partner who usually receives all the accommodations might feel angry at the sudden shift. The once manageable issues now feel like massive obstacles, forcing both partners to take a hard look at their dynamics. Or perhaps a relationship where vulnerability has been avoided for fear of rejection, the feelings that have been suppressed may suddenly erupt in the form of arguments or emotional outbursts. This transit is bringing these patterns to your attention in order to help you break free from them. Are you recognizing these patterns in your relationships? What behaviors have become unbearable? And while all of this might sound chaotic and challenging, it is vital to understand that these events also serve as a powerful catalyst for for spiritual growth. As the emotional intensity rises, you might notice that the veil between worlds thins, making you more attuned to your intuition and more aware of the subtle energies around you. The synchronicities will become more obvious, the messages from your higher self and your spirit guides will become more clear, and you may start to feel that the universe is directly communicating with you. This can be a time of heightened awareness, where you gain access to a deeper understanding of yourself, your purpose, and your connections to the world around you. It's also common to experience vivid dreams, intense emotions, and unusual coincidences that might seem random, but they actually hold deeper meaning. The chaos you are experiencing is simply a byproduct of this increased energetic sensitivity, and it is helping you to shed what is not in alignment with your authentic truth. You may feel a strange pull, a strong urge to take a certain direction, or a sudden urge to make a change that you had been putting off, and it is crucial that you listen to these nudges because they are coming from your soul. This is a time of amplified intuition, which can also be overwhelming, especially when you aren't used to working with these types of energies, so it is crucial that you take the time to center yourself and allow the process to unfold. Take time for meditation, allow yourself to journal your experiences, and take deep breaths to stay grounded and focused on what's happening within you. These practices will help you to navigate the intensity with grace while receiving the guidance that you are being offered. Are you noticing the signs? What intuitive messages are you receiving? And as you start paying attention to these signs, you will also start to see how all of these experiences are actually leading you to the most magical part of this transit, which is the rebirth of your authentic self. The discomfort, the challenges, and the emotional roller coasters, they were all necessary steps in your journey towards a more authentic and aligned version of yourself. Like a snake shedding its old skin, you have been forced to release all that no longer serves you, and now you are ready to emerge, free from the constraints of your old beliefs and patterns. You have faced your shadow self, the parts of you that were hidden or suppressed, and by accepting those aspects of yourself, you have been able to integrate your full self, both the light and the dark, to create a greater sense of wholeness. Think of the phoenix rising from the ashes. This is the process you are going through right now. You were challenged, you were tested, and now you are stronger and more resilient than ever before. You have gained a deeper understanding of your true desires and your values, and you are ready to live a life that is more aligned with your authentic self. The shadow that was once hidden has now transformed into a powerful tool for understanding yourself and others on a much deeper level. This new level of awareness will allow you to move forward with confidence, compassion, and a greater capacity for love, for yourself and for others. What aspects of yourself are being reborn? How has confronting your shadow changed you? And of course, this rebirth directly impacts your relationships, leading you towards a more authentic and fulfilling path, and the after view is completely different than the before. Those superficial connections and imbalanced dynamics, they no longer have a place in your life. Instead, you are now drawing in relationships that are based on genuine connection, mutual respect, and clear boundaries. You communicate your needs and your desires openly and honestly, without fear of judgment or rejection, and you are able to receive love and support in a more authentic way. You are not relying on others for your happiness, but you are embracing interdependence and creating connections that are truly supportive and nurturing. Your communication style will shift from passive or aggressive to assertive, where you are able to express your truth without any fear. Those codependent patterns will be replaced by healthy independence, and you will no longer tolerate being treated with disrespect. You will no longer minimize your needs for the benefit of others, and you will be creating partnerships that are based on mutual respect, trust, and open communication. For example, instead of silently resenting your partner for not meeting your needs, you will now be able to clearly articulate what you need and what you expect. Or, if you've been in a relationship where one partner constantly tries to control the other, both of you will be able to create a space where both individuals can express their own individuality and respect the autonomy of the other. These shifts come from the understanding of your own self-worth, a direct result of the internal work that you have been doing. What does authentic connection mean for you now? How are you using your voice to create healthier relationships? And finally, you must understand that this is not just an intellectual exercise, it is a call to action. The information you have received has now prepared you to move forward with conscious intention. Now is the time to implement practical steps to consciously navigate this transit and move into the future with purpose. Start by engaging in daily journaling practices, exploring your inner landscape, and giving space for your truth to be revealed. Use prompts that allow you to connect with your core values and desires by asking yourself, what do I truly want from my relationships? What am I willing to accept? And what am I no longer willing to tolerate? Engage in regular meditation practices, which will allow you to center yourself and connect with your inner wisdom, and then set clear intentions for your future. You must also practice setting boundaries with others, learn to say no without feeling guilty, and prioritize your own needs and well-being. You must also be willing to release relationships that do not align with your authentic self and create space for those that do. It is now more important than ever to understand that you have the power to choose your reactions and to create a life that is aligned with your values and your desires. This isn't about becoming reactive, but rather, it's about becoming proactive in the creation of your reality. You are not a victim of this transit, but rather, you are an empowered co-creator, actively choosing your path and shaping your experiences. What actions are you committing to right now? What boundaries will you set for your future? Now that you have a grasp on the astrological forces at play, let's dive deeper into the heart of this transit, because the Venus opposition in Scorpio isn't just an astrological concept, it's a profound energetic experience that is designed to shake you to your core. And this is where the rubber meets the road. The intensity of Scorpio, in particular, is unlike any other sign. It's not about fleeting emotions or superficial interactions. Scorpio is about plunging into the depths of your being, into the places that are hidden, the places where you keep your deepest secrets and your most vulnerable truths. And it's important to remember that this is not a casual exploration, but rather a full-blown excavation. Think of it as a deep-sea dive. You are descending into the darkest corners of your soul, and because of this, the intensity you are feeling is amplified. Scorpio isn't afraid to confront the shadow, those aspects of yourself that you've tried to hide or ignore or even deny. It's like holding a mirror up to your soul and showing you the parts you'd rather not see. The desires you've suppressed, the insecurities you've buried, the fears you've avoided, they're all being brought to the surface, and this is not a gentle process. Scorpio's influence is not like a soft caress, but rather, it's a powerful and sometimes painful awakening, and this transit is designed to make sure you face them head-on. Have you started to notice what is coming up? Are you ready to see what has been hidden in the depths? This is why, as the Venus opposition activates the intensity of Scorpio, you'll find that you are more susceptible to emotional triggers, as if an internal alarm system has been set off. It's as if a switch has been flipped, and the slightest thing can suddenly provoke an intense reaction, and this isn't random, it's a direct result of the amplified energies at play. Perhaps a seemingly innocent comment from your partner can send you into a spiral of self-doubt, or maybe a minor disagreement with a friend can suddenly turn into a full-blown conflict. Those old emotional wounds, the ones you thought were healed or perhaps forgotten, they suddenly resurface with a new intensity, as if they were never truly resolved. You might find yourself feeling more sensitive, more defensive, and more reactive than usual, and this is not a coincidence. This is the Venus opposition in Scorpio acting as an emotional amplifier, turning up the volume on all the underlying insecurities, fears, and unmet needs that you have been holding onto. These heightened emotions aren't a punishment or a sign of weakness, but rather, they're a call to action, an invitation to finally explore the depths of what needs healing. You are being asked to look at the source of these triggers instead of simply reacting to them, to understand the patterns that are playing out, and to take responsibility for your emotional well-being. Are you starting to recognize your emotional triggers? What patterns are beginning to repeat? Now, here's a crucial point to understand. During this transit, the illusion of control that we try to maintain in our relationships will be challenged. You might find that your usual strategies of managing situations and people start to fall apart, and those carefully constructed facades begin to crumble under the weight of the emotional intensity. You may have tried to control the flow of a relationship. You may have tried to keep things calm and collected, but the Venus opposition in Scorpio will not allow you to continue in these patterns, because true connection is not built through control, but through genuine trust and vulnerability. The desire to control others, or the desire to control situations, often comes from a place of fear of vulnerability, a fear of rejection, a fear of not being good enough, and by trying to control others, you are simply creating an illusion of safety that is not based on genuine connection, but on avoidance. This transit is here to expose that illusion and force you to surrender to the present moment, to release the need to control the outcome, and to trust that the process of growth will unfold as it should. Trying to control the outcome is like trying to hold on to water. The harder you grip, the more it slips away. The path to genuine connection and true personal power isn't through rigid control, but through embracing vulnerability, allowing the messiness of life to unfold, and trusting that the lessons being offered, even if uncomfortable, are exactly what you need to evolve. Are you willing to let go of control and embrace vulnerability? What fears are driving your need for control? This also means that the Venus opposition in Scorpio will bring forth the areas of your relationships where power dynamics have been imbalanced. Those places where communication has broken down, or where codependent patterns have taken over, will all be brought into the light. Perhaps you have been sacrificing your own needs to please your partner, or maybe you've been in a relationship where one person holds all the power and the other constantly gives in. Perhaps you've been avoiding conflict to keep the peace, or maybe you've been engaging in passive-aggressive behaviors to express your frustrations indirectly. These unhealthy patterns will become more obvious during this transit. The relationship dynamics will become a mirror, reflecting back the internal dynamics that have been playing out within you, which means that the more you try to hold on to those unbalanced patterns, the more intense the conflict will become. It's as if your relationships are acting as a magnifying glass, highlighting the areas where you've been giving your power away, or where you've been afraid to fully express your needs. Those once manageable issues will now feel unbearable, because this transit is designed to push you towards healthier, more balanced dynamics. Are you noticing how power dynamics have played out in your relationships? What patterns of communication have you been relying on? And this is where the concept of the shadow becomes essential, because the relationship conflicts are not just about the other person, but also about the parts of yourself that you have been avoiding. This transit will illuminate how we often project our own unacknowledged insecurities, fears, and traumas onto the people around us, as if they are the source of our inner turmoil, but really, they are simply mirroring what is happening within. Perhaps you are criticizing your partner for being lazy, but really you are projecting your own insecurities about your productivity. Or maybe you are accusing your friend of being selfish, but it's really a reflection of your own unmet needs. When we fail to acknowledge the shadow aspects within ourselves, they can be projected onto others as a way to avoid dealing with our own pain and discomfort. You are using your relationships to avoid looking at yourself, and the more you project, the further you move away from your own self-awareness. These projections distort your reality, they create unnecessary conflict, and they make it almost impossible to create genuine connections with others, because instead of seeing the other person for who they truly are, you are seeing them through the lens of your own unresolved issues. What insecurities are you projecting onto others? What aspects of yourself are you refusing to see? And here's the thing, these intense relationship conflicts, these emotional triggers, they aren't just personal challenges, but also potent catalysts for spiritual awakening. Because as the chaos unfolds, the veil between worlds thins, allowing you to see the bigger picture. You may notice you're more attuned to your intuition and receiving messages that guide you on your path, in the form of sudden insights, intuitive downloads, or vivid dreams that feel more real than everyday life. Perhaps you begin to see recurring numbers, you find feathers in unusual places, or you hear a song on the radio that perfectly answers a question you were contemplating. These are not coincidences, but rather synchronicities, messages from the universe, encouraging you to awaken and step into your higher purpose. The challenges you're facing in your relationships are meant to nudge you towards a deeper understanding of your soul contracts, the agreements you made before you incarnated, about the lessons you came here to learn. You may start to question the nature of love and connection and start to ponder your own role in the cosmic tapestry. The difficulties that you are experiencing are designed to push you beyond the mundane and into a deeper spiritual awareness so that you can realize you are part of a larger cosmic pattern, not just an isolated individual. Are you noticing any spiritual signs? What guidance are you receiving? And finally, as you move through these challenges, you'll discover that the ultimate result of the Venus opposition in Scorpio is the rebirth of your authentic self. As you shed those layers of conditioning, those old beliefs and patterns that have been holding you back, you will begin to align with your truest expression of yourself. The discomfort you have been feeling has served a purpose to bring all that was hidden to the surface so that you could finally release it. This is the moment where you stop trying to be who you think you should be, and instead, you embrace who you truly are. It's the moment where you let go of trying to please others, and instead, you prioritize your own well-being. This transformation might feel scary, and it might feel uncertain, but it is the process that is necessary for you to step into the power of your authentic self. Like the snake shedding its skin, you're releasing the old version of yourself that was limited by fear, self-doubt, and insecurities, and you are emerging anew, more aligned, more powerful, and more in tune with your true nature. The discomfort was a necessary part of the journey, and now you are ready to be reborn. What old skins are you shedding? How is your true self emerging? And this newfound authenticity will create a foundation for how you move forward in relationships, allowing you to create healthier boundaries, practice self-love, and set clear intentions for the future, because you are no longer operating from a place of fear, but rather from a place of self-awareness and empowerment. You will now be able to set clear boundaries with others. You'll no longer be willing to sacrifice your own well-being for the sake of others, and you'll be able to communicate your needs and desires honestly and openly. You'll also be able to practice self-love, understanding that you are worthy of love and respect, and therefore you can nurture yourself and prioritize your own well-being. This isn't selfish, but rather, it's an act of self-preservation. And finally, you'll be able to set clear intentions for the future, and you'll start to consciously choose the path you want to take, instead of letting others dictate your reality. You will be choosing your reactions instead of blindly reacting, and you will be taking responsibility for your emotional well-being. Now that you have released all that no longer serves you, you are ready to create a life that is aligned with your values and your desires. What boundaries will you set? What intentions will guide you? So, let's recap, because everything we've covered has been building up to this. The Venus opposition in Scorpio has been a potent catalyst, forcing you to confront the hidden desires you've long suppressed, triggering deep emotional confrontations, and compelling you to reevaluate the patterns in your relationships that have kept you stuck. And this process, this often uncomfortable experience, is ultimately designed to reveal your truth, to dismantle the structures that no longer serve you, and to break you free from the confines of the past. This hasn't been a passive experience, but rather an active initiation into deeper self-awareness, calling upon you to participate and pay attention. And it's important to understand that these concepts, though presented separately, are all deeply connected and working together to help you in your personal transformation. You've been asked to face the shadow, to feel the intensity, to question the status quo, and now it's time to integrate these experiences into a more complete understanding of yourself and your path. Have you noticed how all of these concepts fit together? Are you beginning to see the larger picture? Throughout this journey, certain patterns have become clear, like a road map through your transformation. The before-after dynamic has shown you the stark contrast between old relationship patterns and new, healthier ones. The emotional cycle has clarified the path from initial discomfort to eventual liberation and change. The personal anecdotes we've discussed have validated your feelings and created a sense of connection and understanding, and the cosmic cycle repetition has placed this experience in the broader context of your ongoing personal and spiritual development. And now you see that the practical action prompts that we have explored are the tools that you can use to help you navigate this continuing cycle of transformation. These patterns aren't isolated ideas, but rather interwoven threads that create the fabric of your personal narrative, and they highlight a holistic process that is both personal and universal. This is not just an isolated event in your life, but rather a part of a larger story that you are writing every day, and understanding these patterns is the key to understanding your place in it. Have these patterns started to become clear to you? Can you see how they all support one another? And this brings us to the core understanding of it all. The Venus opposition in Scorpio, through the intense challenges it presents, is not just revealing insights about your relationships or your personality, but rather, it is helping you step into your own personal power by recognizing your ability to make conscious choices, set firm boundaries, and move towards a life that reflects your most authentic self. This is not a passive process of fate happening to you, but rather an active journey where you are the driver, making conscious choices and being responsible for your path. The discomfort and the turmoil you have experienced have not been signs of weakness, but instead have been catalysts for growth, and the way you have responded to this process has shown you that you are capable of far more than you ever imagined. You are no longer a victim of circumstances, but an empowered co-creator of your own reality, and this shift is the core understanding that will allow you to navigate your life with more clarity and intention. Are you beginning to feel more empowered? What will you create with your new understanding? The most significant shift in perspective that is happening here is the move from focusing on the external or on what others are doing to taking full responsibility for your internal world and your personal choices. It's about understanding that true power lies in your ability to choose your responses, to set healthy boundaries, and to align with your own authentic values and desires, rather than trying to control external circumstances or fix other people's problems. This is not to say that external circumstances don't matter, but rather that your internal experience of them is the most important. You are not at the mercy of the world, but rather you are the master of your internal experience. By taking responsibility for your internal world, you are also taking back your power, and you're choosing to no longer be a victim of fate, but rather the architect of your reality. How can you apply this understanding to your everyday choices? What internal shifts are you ready to make? Now let's put this into perspective. The Venus in Scorpio opposition is not some isolated incident. It's actually part of a larger pattern, a continuous cycle of growth and transformation. It's like shedding skin, a never-ending process where you are continually peeling back layers of what no longer serves you to reveal the more authentic you. And like a phoenix rising from the ashes, you are constantly rebuilding yourself and emerging stronger, wiser, and more in tune with your true nature. Every challenge you overcome is not a setback, but rather a necessary part of your evolution, and with each layer you shed, you become more aligned with the unique purpose that you are here to embody. This is not a one-time event, but a lifelong journey of self-discovery, where the challenges you encounter are just another opportunity to grow, to shed what no longer serves you, and to rise to your own personal greatness. What new layers are you ready to shed? How will you embrace your own personal evolution? Recognizing these recurring patterns in your life is a key to understanding the lessons that are being presented to you. You might start to notice similar themes coming up in different relationships, or the same kind of challenges showing up in different areas of your life. Perhaps you notice that codependent patterns have been following you from one relationship to the next, or that your patterns of avoidance have been showing up in many different ways in your life. These are not coincidences, but rather they are clues or signposts guiding you towards the deeper lessons that you are here to learn, and by recognizing these patterns, you are able to consciously choose a different path, and you are no longer bound by unconscious repetition. These patterns are simply reflecting your internal reality, and they are showing you where you need to take responsibility. Ignoring these patterns means ignoring the important lessons that are meant to be learned, and choosing to see them is the first step in breaking free from them. What recurring patterns have you started to recognize? Are you ready to break free from them? The implications of this transit are profound. By understanding these patterns and embracing self-awareness, you are now able to create more meaningful relationships that are based on authenticity and genuine connection. And this newfound clarity will allow you to build a more fulfilling life that aligns with your true values and desires. The after view from the before-after pattern is finally coming into focus, showcasing relationships built on honesty, mutual respect, and true emotional intimacy. You are now able to let go of old, unhealthy patterns, and you are choosing to create relationships that allow you to be yourself, and for others to be themselves. This clarity doesn't just enhance your external connections, but it also deepens your relationship with yourself, creating a foundation of self-love and self-respect that will permeate all of your experiences. What type of relationships are you now ready to create? How will you deepen your connection with yourself? Ultimately, true transformation comes from within. It's about consciously choosing to embrace authenticity, set healthy boundaries, and live in alignment with your deepest values. The power to change doesn't lie outside of you, it's within your very essence, and now that you've shed those old layers and explored the depths of your being, you can take full responsibility for the life that you wish to create. Remember that the thin veil we discussed is still there, and that by connecting with your own intuition, you are able to access the inner guidance you need to remain on this empowered path. You are not alone in this journey, and you are fully equipped with all the tools and wisdom you need to continue to move forward with confidence and intention. Are you ready to embrace this authentic path? What does an empowered life look like for you? All of the core themes we've covered, the shadow and the light, the discomfort and the growth, the inner and the outer experiences, and the spiritual and material realms are all interconnected, working together to support your continuous cycle of transformation. Like different colors in a tapestry, these themes intertwine to create a vibrant and rich experience, with each facet playing a critical role in the evolution of your soul. This isn't a process of choosing one over the other, but rather understanding how they complement one another, creating a holistic and integrated picture. Just like the snake shedding its skin, you are continuously releasing the old to make room for the new, and this constant emotional cycle is moving you towards an ever greater version of yourself. And with each new experience, you understand how it all fits together. How can you embrace all of the different parts of yourself? What new insights have you gained by integrating these concepts? The recurring patterns we've explored, the emotional cycle, the before-after, they all culminate in an empowered sense of self and the ability to forge more authentic connections with others. The initial discomfort of the emotional cycle has given way to a profound sense of liberation. Those old unhealthy patterns are now transforming into a foundation for authentic connections, and the spiritual guidance that you have received can now be used with more clarity and intention. All of the work you have been doing has brought you to this very moment, and you now have the necessary tools to continue to move forward with clarity and intention. You've seen the path you've taken, you've felt the intensity of the change, and now you have emerged with more wisdom and strength. Are you ready to use these tools with confidence? How will you continue to move forward? Now let's bring it all back to the initial question, the tension that you have felt, that change in the way you experience relationships, because it wasn't something that was just happening to you, but was rather a direct result of the Venus opposition in Scorpio. By acknowledging this, and by consciously taking responsibility for your inner world, you are now able to move forward with more awareness and intention. You are no longer in the dark about what has been happening behind the scenes, and you now hold the keys to your own personal evolution. This understanding is your compass, it's your guide, and it will show you the path forward to a life that is more aligned with your truth. How will you use this knowledge to move forward? What are your next steps? The tension that has been building throughout this experience is now released as you step into your power, your strength, and your ability to consciously create a life aligned with your deepest values and desires. This is not a moment to fear, but rather a time to embrace the possibilities that await you with confidence and with grace. You have walked through the fire, you have seen the depths of your own soul, and you have emerged with more clarity and inner strength than before. The journey was challenging, yes, but now you are empowered by your own resilience and by your understanding that you are capable of achieving anything that you set your mind to. What possibilities will you now embrace? How will you use your newfound strength? And though this transit is significant, there will be more transits, more opportunities to learn, and more chances for you to grow. You have begun to unlock a deeper level of understanding, and you will find that the wisdom you have gained during this time will be extremely useful when navigating the future events of your life. While the specifics may vary, the underlying patterns will continue to repeat, and the tools you have gained here will be applicable in new ways, time and time again. The journey doesn't end here, but rather, this is just the beginning of a deeper understanding of how you move through the world. How will you apply this to future events? What new insights are you ready to discover? Remember that this transit is simply one part of a continuous journey of growth and self-discovery, and the power to deepen your understanding of yourself and your relationships lies within your hands. By engaging with your intuition, setting clear intentions, and continuing to explore your deepest desires, you will continue to uncover new depths of yourself that you have yet to discover. This is not just about reaching a final destination, but rather about the joy and wonder of the journey itself, and you are the only one who can lead yourself down this path. What new depths are you ready to explore? How will you continue to engage with your intuition? And now I encourage you to share your stories, your insights, and your questions in the comments section below, because this is a shared journey and we can all learn and grow from one another. The more you engage with the community, the more validation you receive, and you'll also realize you are not alone in your experiences. Your honesty and your willingness to share will not only help you, but will also inspire others to see that they too have the power to transform their lives. What has been your experience? What can you offer to the community? Thank you for your time, thank you for your attention, and thank you for allowing me to share this with you. If you found this content insightful and you wish to continue your journey of growth and self-discovery, please consider clicking the subscribe button for more content that will help you on your path. This is not the end, but the beginning of a new chapter for you, so thank you for being here, and until next time, I wish you well on your journey.